Hi, and welcome to the Brisbane Professionals Podcast. This is a podcast brought to you by SMS Law, going through the legal secrets that will benefit you and your clients, as well as having a little bit of fun as we go. This podcast is designed to educate you on, number one, complicated legal terms that we will explain in an easy to understand manner. Two, to understand why you do things from a legal perspective in your business. And three, to help you develop a plan for the future success of your business. Our mission is to help empower small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place. Did you know that any business owner is on average 7 months away from losing everything? That is the average time that it takes from a successful business to fold when an aspect of their business is not set up correctly. This podcast is all about empowering you and your business with knowledge and tools to ensure that that doesn't happen to you or to your clients. Let's begin, shall we?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brisbane Professional Podcast brought to you by SMS Law. My name is Craig Mason from SMS Law, and I have with me the S from SMS Law, Jeremy Stratton. Say hello, everyone, please, Jeremy.
Hi, everyone. I'm not sure which S I am, but I think we've had this discussion before on this podcast, so we'll go with the first one. So I hope everyone's having a great day, and I'll go with the first S in SMS Law, being D. Stratton.
I think, yes, that sounds right. Cool. All right. Intellectual property is what we were talking about today. If you joined us in the last show, if you're listening to them in order, I guess, then the last show was about intellectual property as well, but a bit of an intro. Today we're talking about the actual types of intellectual property, that you could use in your business, and also about structuring and whether or not that applies. So, Jeremy, the first question, and this is probably one that we hear quite a lot, is what is a trademark and why would you actually need to use the protection?
Yeah, so a trademark is the brand, the name, the logo that you associate with your business. McDonald's is probably the most famous one, or Hungry Jack's is also famous, or Burger King. This is the Brisbane Professionals Podcast, so it's Hungry Jack's. If you're in other states listening to us, it's Burger King. I'm digressing though. So that's the trademark. The trademark is the name of the business. And when you would use it, it's really when would you register it. So you have protection straight away when you have a trademark because it's yours. It's your trademark of your business. You can register a trademark with IP Australia that actually protects it and stops anyone else from using it and means that you're the owner of it for a period of 10 years. So what I usually see is startup business owners, they have a name for their business. They've probably thought about that a lot, probably a lot more than they need to think about the name of their business, and they really want to protect it. The problem is that they spend thousands of dollars of that early on in the business just to protect their name, and then they go and change their name after a couple of years because they work out that it's not working for them. We did that with our law firm. It used to be Stratton Mason's Lawyers, and now it's SMS Law. If we had gone to the expense of trademarking Stratton Mason's Lawyers, which we didn't need to do because it's our last names, then that would have been a waste of money because then we changed our name to SMS Law, which is also protected. So when to use it is really when you've got a unique name and you have something that you want to protect going forward, or a unique logo that you really want to protect going forward. So trademarks is one of those funny ones that you can spend a lot of money on to actually not get you too far. So make sure that you're sure that you want to protect it before you go spending the cash on doing that. Craig, do you want to talk about the second one about establishing a separate entity to own your intellectual property?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of establishing a separate entity, so that's an entity that's separate to your business. So you might have a company that's operating your business. They're dealing with the outside world. They're employing people. They're engaging with suppliers, clients, etc. And you might have a separate entity, so a totally different company that owns the actual intellectual property that you've developed. So kind of like what Jeremy was saying with, the costs and things and when you should be doing things. A lot of people say, oh, let's set it up at the beginning, but you've got to talk to your advisors about whether or not it's worthwhile doing it at the beginning or at some other point in the future, because sometimes there's not much point going to the expense of setting up different entities and then not actually developing any intellectual property that needs to be protected, for instance. So definitely talk to your advisors about it. And then the way it would work is you've got a separate entity that owns intellectual property that then allows, through an agreement, the business to use that intellectual property in the operation of the actual business. So it'll be a license agreement. So few things to think about there. Definitely talk to your advisors, but yeah, it is a common strategy for that extra level of protection, knowing that your intellectual property is protected in a separate entity if something was to happen to that operating entity in your business. Jeremy, what was the next thing we had about licensing intellectual property?
Yeah, so how do you go about licensing your intellectual property? So you can license other people and other businesses to use your intellectual property. And you usually do that through a license agreement, unsurprisingly, and there's usually a fee that's paid for that license agreement. A word of warning here that a lot of people think that they can license intellectual property rather than setting up a franchise. So if you want someone else to use your business and they're going to pay you a fee for doing that, that can be a franchise. And the main distinction between a franchise and not a franchise is the level of control that you have over the way that that person can use your logo. So if they can use your logo really willy-nilly and can do whatever they want with it, then it's probably a license. But if you want to have any sort of control over the way that they use your logo, how they can use it, where they can use it, not so much where they can use it, that can be in the license too, but how they can use it and where they can use it in their material and in their business, then that's probably a franchise. So don't fall into the trap that we see a lot of people do of trying to get around franchises by licensing. Not really the purpose of how do I go about licensing my intellectual property, but it's an important thing for people to note. Craig, do you want to talk about protecting how-to guides and checklists in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So, depending on the business you have, most businesses will have some form of process, how-to guides, checklists, etc., within the business that the business owners have developed over time, and it's their way of doing things, and they have it documented. So, as one of the IP rights is copyright, so it'd be protected under that. Another way to protect it even further is through a confidentiality agreement that you might have with your employees, for instance, or contractors that see that information, see those how-to guides, see the checklists. And that is to help prevent them from, if they were to leave, for instance, or go and work someone else as a contractor, that they don't take that information that you've developed and put into a document. They don't take that and use it in another business. So you want a confidentiality agreement to protect you from that. Obviously, you need to enforce it. So it's a matter of keeping track of it, all that, but we'll touch on that about an IP infringement strategy in the coming shows as well. Jeremy, you want to finish up on patents?
Indeed. So what is a patent and how do you get one? So a patent is a legal protection that you get over usually a process or an invention of some sort. So it's got to be a novel invention that no one else has come up with. And how do you get one? You have to apply for it through IP Australia, and usually engaging with a specialist patent attorney. There are some lawyers out there who think they can do it as well. My recommendation is if you want it done properly, you go to a patent attorney because this is what they do all day, every day. So a patent protects an innovation or an innovative process that you have in place or an innovative product and stops other people from copying that. It gives you protection for about 20 years normally on that. So very specialist area. If you need to do one or you've got a client who needs one, go and see a patent attorney. They're the best people to do it. And that way you get it protected properly.
Absolutely. Good advice. So that's all we wanted to touch on today in terms of the types of intellectual property. And as you've just heard, also, some extra sort of protections through confidentiality agreements and separate legal entities owning the intellectual property. Jeremy said it in terms of seeing a patent attorney, and I mentioned it as well about talking to your advisors. This is the time when you need to lean on them and get all the advice you can before you start spending dollars on doing these things, because it's not, they're not free. All right, that's it for us today. If you would like, and we'd very much appreciate it, jump on and like and leave a review for the podcast. Please connect with us on LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter, or like the SMS Law Facebook page. We'd love to have you on there. We do share other information and various things about events or whatever it might be throughout the week. So jump on there, get involved. We're there to answer any questions that you may have as well as an advisor or as a professional in Australia. So get on. I'd like to see you there. We'll see you next time.